What's going on, y'all? So the Pro got revealed. It was going to be 700 like I thought it was because Sony's not dropping the price of the console. They also lost money on Concord. But not only that, the situation that the market is in, $700 makes sense. So I expected that to happen. I'm not disappointed about that. I'm disappointed that we didn't get any specs, but it's exactly what I said though. Like I told people here, the PS5 Pro reveal in 5 hours 30 minutes earlier this morning at 3:33. Looking forward to the price and date. Specs is easy to read because it's just like the Pro. GPU upgrade, but same CPU, which they did. They didn't even show a boost for that. And memory close to 15 to 20% boost. They actually went up to around 28. PSR is just FSR. 9 minutes is a wise move and no games because Microsoft's not doing well and they're not interfaced with the Xbox. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. But what I want to say is that, yeah, he kind of danced around with people. PC gamers will understand what I'm saying and people understand how specs work. It's not anything new. And yeah, I wasn't impressed. So let's go. Those of you excited. Hi.
Hi, I'm Markson. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, you know what? Let me move the volume real quick. I forgot all about that.
To talk about the newest addition to our console lineup, PlayStation 5 Pro, and how it advances gaming technology. But first, I want to take just
doesn't.
a minute to look at what we put in the original PlayStation 5
It advances
and
your
how it
technology.
delivers an exceptional gaming
It's outdated
experience.
on PC for years.
When PS5 debuted in 2020, it brought a lot to the table. 8 Zen 2 CPU cores form the brains of PlayStation 5 and enable high-speed complex gameplay, with character counts reaching into the hundreds and frame rates that can be as high as 120 frames a second.
That's like, yeah, on older games, of course. By the way, y'all like, subscribe, y'all like this type of content. Comment, let me know what y'all think.
PS5 has a powerful RDNA 2 GPU, which can render anything from intricate details to fantastic worlds with vast panoramas to explore. Ray tracing allows for dramatic visual improvements, including reflections off of water or glass, and the realism that comes from real-time global illumination. A custom SSD can load data at breathtaking speed, resulting in ultra-fast transitions between game worlds.
See, this is for people that play consoles that don't understand how things work. Like, you're just regurgitating to me like I don't know this.
And data streaming rates so high that traversal speeds are essentially unlimited.
You okay? I'm working on it!
Tempest 3D audio tech brings an unparalleled sense of immersion to the sound of the games. With audio so real, you may not even need to see the enemies to know exactly where they are. Finally, the DualSense controller has haptics that let you feel through your hands what your character is experiencing inside of the game.
That's cool. That's one thing I do like.
It's wonderful to see such variety and richness of game experiences. Creators have made amazing use of the hardware capabilities, but when I talk to them, I do hear about their desire for more graphics performance.
It's just a
The
PC,
dreams of the
bro.
developers
PC
are bigger than
specs.
can be supported at 60 frames per second, and that leads to an aspect of modern gaming that we're all familiar with: graphics modes. It can be a difficult choice for players.
But there's no settings like you have on PC to see everything. You know what I mean? They just give you that, and that's why people say it's going to be 4K. It's like, no, it's not. What do you mean? Do you mean native 4K with settings on high, settings on ultra? No, you're not going to be doing that. Not even close, because you don't have the speed to do that. You have the same CPU.
Fidelity modes emphasize the visuals, typically through higher resolution rendering. These modes
See, this is like a game like a Nintendo engine, you know what I mean? And The Last of Us is a PS4 game. They're not going to show anything new doing that because it's not able to do that. They're just talking to, I guess, the dummy mindsets.
might also have enhanced detail.
I'm not saying you guys can't be
ray tracing.
excited for this, but it's like you're kind of
But the
dancing
games
around
only
me.
run at 30 frames per second. The visuals can be choppier, and the controls less responsive. Performance modes emphasize frame rate
PS4
and
game again.
interactivity, typically
And
choosing to
Spider-Man,
run at
PS4
60
game.
frames per second.
Cartoon
Mainly
graphics.
by reducing the graphical detail until those frame rates can be achieved. When asked to decide on a mode, players are choosing performance about 3/4 of the time. Removing that decision, or at least narrowing that divide, is one of the key targets.
So, guys, I'm just telling you, the new games that are coming out, just remember this. you're not going to be able to get no native 4K 60. And the settings that they're going to give you, you can't see them because you're just seeing fidelity, performance, you know what I mean, or quality mode, and that's all you get to choose. You're not seeing any of the settings that are down on like medium or whatever, right? With the Pro, you may be able to do high on some, but you're not getting very high ever, and you're not going to be getting ultra settings. And you ain't never going to be hitting no native 4K 60 with that. It's going to be all upscaled stuff. It ain't any. All they're doing is putting a new GPU in there, and they're cranking up the RAM. You have the same speed, so you cannot make all of those visuals go faster without that speed. You're going to be limited. It's just like the Pro and the Xbox One X. I don't know why they don't just tell people that, but of course, like I said, he's just dancing around with these older games and games that are not heavy demanding.
Pro. We want to give players the graphics that the game creators aspire to, at the high frame rates that players typically prefer. To do that, PS5 Pro substantially improves over PlayStation 5 in 3 ways. Here's what we call the Big 3.
Yeah, no CPU.
First, we made the GPU much larger and increased the speed of the memory it uses. The result is rendering that's up to 45% faster.
So, 45% improvement. You had these people talk about 30-something teraflops. I'm like, what is wrong with y'all? You literally don't know how parts work. Like, in order for you to do that, you would have to replace everything else in the entire console, and you would need a better CPU because you can't run all of that. But they're so slow, they don't understand that, you know? And I'm like, there's no way in hell that's ever happening.
Second, we made major upgrades.
So one dude's like, it might match a 4080. Yeah, okay, bro. The best they're going to try to get close to is a 4060 if they could even do that. So if right now, and I have a 4070 at my console, and my CPU can go up to 5.2 gigahertz. And I have 32 gigabytes of RAM. It's way better than the PlayStation 5. I mean, it's like, it just embarrasses it. And I know the limit of what it can do. You know what I mean? So you ain't going to even come close to that no matter what. And these people are in their mindsets to think,
the ray tracing.
It's going to do things it can't.
Streamlined and accelerated approach that allows calculation of the rays at double or even triple the speeds of PlayStation 5. And finally, we added custom hardware for machine learning and an AI library called PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, or PSSR for short. PSSR analyzes the game images pixel by pixel and can add an extraordinary amount of detail, which boosts the effective resolution of the games. Game creators are adding PS5 Pro support to new and existing titles, and with the Big 3 involved, the results can be pretty amazing, with graphics showing something like fidelity levels of detail, but at double the frame rate. Here's The Last of Us Part 2
PS4 game
running on PS5 Pro. It has huge amounts of detail and targets a super smooth 60 frames per second. Let's compare this to the fidelity mode
I don't know my PC,
which is only running at 30 frames per second and is therefore much choppier.
Don't stop! We gotta lose.
This goal of delivering almost fidelity-like graphics at performance frame rates has been achieved for a broad set of titles, including Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart.
Not demanding
we can
games.
see that PS5 Pro is close to doubling the power of PlayStation 5.
See, they're showing games that are not CPU heavy and not the new games that came out, like Black Myth Wukong, you know what I mean? The First Ascendant. You're not going to do that because it can't do it. It's just a better GPU and boosted up RAM. So with that, you know the new games that are out are massively CPU heavy. Definitely Unreal Engine 5 games. I'm just trying to tell you guys the truth. I'm not trying to bullshit you like this guy is doing. He's doing this for people who don't understand how things work. You're not getting no native 4K 60 on any of these new games. Not even close. And you will not even be getting like 1600p or anything with like ultra settings or high settings. You're just going to be able to get better graphics only if it's not CPU demanding. The memory just displays things faster with the same SSD. And we'll get into the details after this.
Another way to compare the two consoles is to look at PS5 Pro versus Performance mode on PS5, both of which target 60 frames per second.
So
what we see here is a difference in detail. PS5 Pro is much sharper and crisper than PS5.
Has a better graphics card.
For this, my favorite is the parade scene from Ratchet & Clank. Distant details are much clearer.
So all he's telling you is because we have a better graphics card and better memory, the details are going to look better. But I'm not going to give you a game that can't run 60 frames per second on PlayStation 5. Unless it's something that's an older game that barely couldn't do it. Now it's going to be stable because it's a exclusive that we know for consoles. But they're not going to show these newer games that just came out. Of course they're not, because they can't do it.
And here we can see Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is noticeably higher resolution throughout the...
So what I will tell you is that this is better for exclusives, right? And they'll be able to have their own custom FSR with AI upscaling. But it's not native, so you will never hear him say that. If you don't have a better CPU, you're limited no matter how much power you have, because you cannot run that power with no speed. You need the right amount of speed to run on that power. Otherwise, it's just going to lag. That's where lag comes from, because I don't have the speed to run all this power. Just think of it just like a car, you know?
The scene, including the trees and procedural cars. So overall, some remarkable improvement to the games. On PS5 Pro, we can see increased sharpness to the graphics or smoother and more responsive gameplay. This is the big three showing their value. As you've been seeing, machine learning via the PSSR library
Series X
used
had
quite
this
broadly to add pixel detail and boost frame
Just
rate.
saying.
But there are as many approaches as there are game engines. The increase in raw GPU power is being especially effective for Horizon Forbidden West. Apart from the detail boost, that extra graphics power is allowing for improvements to lighting and visual effects, as well as to the hair and the skin in cinematics.
Open up, guys. Jorv's orders.
Good enough for me.
My Nintendo Switch is over there.
Ray tracing is finding broad usage as well, particularly when the games are focused on higher frame rates, the faster hardware in PS5.
I could have like 5 or 6 ray tracing settings on my PC. But once again, why would you do that if you can't hit 60 frames per second? It's only going to be for games that are not that demanding. And even then on future games, yeah, it'll only be able to be fully optimized and ready to use for those settings if you're doing something like a PlayStation 5 exclusive only, or a game built that's like second party or locked to the PlayStation 5 to be specifically designed, like Final Fantasy 7 or something like that. I mean, like I said, it's welcome stuff, but it's not anything that you guys would think it was going to be because of the CPU. No matter what, you're just bound without it.
Pro can make a real difference, allowing Gran Turismo 7 to add ray-traced reflections between the cars in gameplay, while continuing to support their targeted 60 frames per second. That boost in ray tracing is also delivering big wins for Hogwarts Legacy, allowing not only for better reflections and a greater variety of reflective surfaces, but also for further realism in the casting of shadows. I hope you've enjoyed this run-through of the technology behind PlayStation 5 Pro.
So after this, he's just going to show some games.
It's the most powerful console we've ever...
We'll get to that in a second. But this is the price right here, as you guys can see. And like I said, I figured they were going to do that. That makes sense. So right here on the website, they actually give a little bit more details here. So let's go down here. We see upgraded GPU. No specs, by the way, guys. They didn't give us no specs. But, you know, better GPU. Boosted up the RAM, and the CPU is the same as you see right here. So what they're saying right here, other enhancements include PlayStation 5 Pro game boost, same as the PS4. It's like I told people, it's going to be just like the Pro. And you could have up to 8,500 backwards compatible PS4 games playable on the PS5 Pro. Another thing that they're going to have is the latest wireless technology, Wi-Fi 7. VRR 8K gaming. Oh, God. You see, they put that on a box of the Series X and the PS5. It's like, what, a PS4 launch game or some PS3 stuff? Or a game like Call of Duty, you know what I mean? But new games? Come on now, let's be real. Nobody has an 8K TV. It's irrelevant. Just be quiet with all that. But games have to be patched, by the way, as we know that, with free software updates for gamers to take advantage of that. It's not going to come out the box right away. And you don't have a better CPU, so you're not going to see that unless it is patched. Microsoft's backwards compatibility system is still way better because it's built into the system. And this is what they kind of want to try to work on it. So you got games like Alan Wake 2, Assassin's Creed Shadows. Any game coming after September 15th is required to do that, so that's cool. Dragon's Dogma 2, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Gran Turismo 7, Hogwarts Legacy, you know, all this type of stuff right here. You know, games I've already beaten, but, you know, it's still cool for people that didn't get to experience that. But if you have a PC, what's the point? This is only for games that are only going to be on PlayStation for me, that I can't play on my PC. Otherwise, I'm choosing my PC. It's way better. No contest. So that's all that is right there. And the reason why I'm just telling you guys this is because I found this presentation disappointing. I thought you were going to show some new type of games, but you don't need to. They'll probably have a state of play because they had terrible presentation earlier this year. Microsoft had a wonderful one, though Sony's still doing a lot better. Nintendo always has great presentations, but I need Sony to have a better presentation and show me what the hell's going on, around the corner. All in all, though, it's exactly what I said on my page, though. The GPU is just going to be better, just like the Pro. You're going to turn up the memory, but the CPU is locked. You can't replace that. So, that's it. So, all these new games that are CPU heavy, because this gen is massively CPU heavy, you ain't getting no 60 frames per second on these new games. They're going to have to boost it down to get the 60 frames like you would on the PS5. But the difference is that when I'm boosting it down, just like on the PS5, both consoles, my performance mode on a Pro is going to be better because I have a better GPU and better RAM, so I can run it at a higher resolution. That's it, guys. But they're not going to be able to run at 60 frames per second on the base PlayStation 5 what they could on the Pro if it's CPU heavy. It's going to be limited. Always remember that so you can understand how things work. And there's a lot of people that are going to say, screw you, I'm not paying 700 for it, even if I do want to trade in my console. And I'm going to tell you, honestly, you really don't have to. Just get a PC instead because you already have the PS5 to play the games that you can on PC till they come there or if they never come there, like single-player games. All in all, y'all, like, subscribe, let me know what y'all think. PC gamers, y'all know what I'm talking about, and people who know how to build stuff and how things actually work. All right, y'all. Enjoy this. I'm glad if y'all are excited for this. I'm not trying to tear that down. I'm just here to be real with you and tell you the truth because that's what you should know. So your expectations can be in line with reality rather than thinking, like some people on Twitter, oh, I wonder if it'll be able to match a 4090 and all this. It's like, what is wrong with your brain? That's a $1,500 to $2,000 card. You know what type of console you would need? You would need to pay $2,000 for a console because you would need that CPU to match that and the RAM. Rebuilt it for the motherboard, the watts, the cooling, you'd have to have a huge ass alien looking console. That's not going to happen. All right, y'all. Peace out.